What is up, Revivalists? How's it going? Simon here from CD Revival, and today what we will do is another CD collection video. I had to think about it there for a second. Yeah, CD collection video. Today I'm going to crack on with H, so bands that begin with H, artists begin with H. A fair few, not super loads, but you know, enough to be going on with, and nothing in H really that I'm going to do a ranking of. There's a few bands that I would like to have a few more of their bits, but we'll go to those. I'm going to start with the band Helloween, so I've got a few bits from there. As I say, not as many as I would like. I think some of their stuff's a little bit hit and miss, but they've done a lot of albums over the years with a couple of different vocalists. The first one I've got is the classic Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1. Really good album. First one with Michael Kiske. The first proper album was Walls of Jericho, that had like the guitarist Kai Hansen singing on it. That was more of a sort of thrash metal kind of vibe. This one's more definitely towards their sort of power metal, melodic, sort of Maiden-esque almost, but say definitely the sort of beginnings of power metal. They were one of the pioneers for that. Really good album, this one. Some really good tracks on it. I'm Alive's are really good. Sort of really kicks off and shows you what the album's all about. Little Time's a really good track. Future World, super catchy, was a single on there as well. And it's got the epic track Helloween, which is a 13-minute song. Probably the standout track on the album as well. But yeah, really good pioneering power metal album from Helloween. Yeah, really good, well worth checking out. Then I've got from them Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2, which I think I slightly prefer, to be honest with you. This is the expanded edition, this one, so there's 2 discs on this with another disc of B-sides and what have you. I used to have this on vinyl back in the day. I haven't really got any vinyl anymore, sadly, very little anyway. It just got a bit too bulky to sort of cart around all the time, and yeah, probably regret getting rid of a lot of it, but I did have a lot at one point. But yeah, this one, so I do prefer to the original Keeper of the Seven Keys. Eagle Fly Free is an absolutely outstanding track. Pretty much Dragon Force built their career on, you know, doing that track over and over again in a variety of ways. But if you listen to that, you'll see exactly what I mean. Dr. Steam was a bit of a wacky sort of track as well as a single. Rise and Fall's a bit wacky as well. March to Time, I Want Out. And another epic track on here, Keeper of the Seven Keys itself, which is another sort of lengthy, I think about 13 minutes once again. I prefer the track Helloween, but I think I do prefer this album as a whole. Yeah, really good, excellent stuff from them. Then they did Pink Bubbles Go 8, which I only got recently. I've only heard it a couple of times, to be honest with you. Not super impressed. I think it's, you know, they went super wacky on this one. Michael Kiske decided, you know, let's do a really crazy album, and you can see from the artwork, etc., that, you know, how wacky it is. And yeah, not a lot to really sort of, you know, songs like Heavy Metal Hamsters and things like that. Kids of the Century is not a bad opening track, but yeah, they did go a little bit, you know, like, ooh, oh, Kai Hansen had left the band by this point as well to sort of go on and form Gamma Ray, another sort of power metal band of his own. But yeah, it's not an awful album, but just a little bit too sort of wacky for its own good. They did another album after this, Chameleon, which I haven't got, which was the last one that Michael Kiske did with the band, and I think after that he was trying to take him in a direction they didn't necessarily want to go, and they were like, yeah, see you later, buddy, and pied him off. So but yeah, Pink Bubbles Go 8 it's an okay album. I got it fairly cheaply and thought I'd check it out, and you know, it's worth checking out, but not their best. I have got also Master of the Rings as well, which is really cool. I'm just looking for something else, man. Oh, there it is. It's all right. Master of the Rings. This is the first album with Andy Darris, the guy that replaced Michael Kiske. And yeah, not quite as good a voice, but still pretty cool. Michael Kiske has got that very much. Sounds a lot like Jeff Tate actually, but not quite as not quite as controlled as Jeff Tate, not quite as good I don't think, but a very similar sort of voice. But this album, yeah, is a bit of a return to form after their sort of like couple of wacky albums. I think it's the first album with Andy Derris on vocals, and obviously he's been with them ever since. And yeah, this is a really cool one, really good track, really good album. Ooh. Cool artwork as well, and you know, they've sort of followed that through on a few other albums as well. They've done a bunch of stuff like all throughout the 90s and 2000s. And the other one I was looking for, which is in a different pile, which I forgot about, is their most recent album, simply titled Helloween. This one sees the return of Michael Kiske on vocals along with Andy Derris, so they both do vocals. You can see the picture there of them inside. There's 7 members. Kai Hansen's also returned. So yeah, 3 guitarists, 2 vocalists. They've gone sort of like Maiden plus with the band members, but great artwork. And this honestly is a superb album, really, really good. A lot of cool tracks on it. Yeah, a lot of really cool stuff on it. They finished up with Skyfall, which is a 12-minute track. There's a lot of lengthier Out for the Glory starts off with, and that's just a really cool, it's a really cool power metal album, and it's probably the best album they've done for a long time. Came out in 2021, this one, but yeah, strongly recommend this as a really cool album from Helloween. Definitely well recommended. Good return to form. A few bands have done that as well, I think, recently, like Queensryche as well. Their most recent album's like absolutely banging as well. So but we're not talking about them right now. But yeah, Helloween, self-titled album, 2021, well worth checking out. That's it from Helloween that I've got. Got a few from the band Helmet as well. This one came out in the early 90s, 1990 in fact. This is their opening album, Strap It On. Quite rudimentary, hardcore, New York style. Page Hamilton, guitar and vocals, is the main guy in the band. Some good stuff on there, but yeah, not their best album. Then they followed that up with Meantime. This CD case has honestly seen better days. I've had this for a long time, this one. But really cool album. And yeah, played this to death, to be honest with you. A lot of really cool stuff on it, like Unsung, which was the single. They played that on MTV quite a bit at the time. Things like You Borrowed I really like as well. Give It's a really cool track. The actual track In the Meantime is just a really cool heavy guitar sound on this one. Really cool band, man. Really used to love them back in the day. They followed that up with Betty. I got this one when it came out. This is the original issue with the yellow cover. Another really strong, really good album, this one. Do like this one a lot. Things like Wilma's Rainbow. It's a little bit more accessible in places, but a little bit more experimental in places as well. Biscuits for Smut, I think, was the original single. But yeah, a lot of really cool stuff on this one. Really good album. Probably their best, I would say. Probably their most enjoyable all-round album. Although Meantime runs it pretty close, but that one's still worth checking out. And the Aftertaste as well, which I think was the album that came out after that. And this one's not bad, not quite as good, but obviously in a similar sort of vein. This one's also falling apart. I think the rules of a Helmet CD is it's got to be falling apart. But yeah, some good stuff on here as well. But say not quite as good as the 2 that came before it, but still pretty decent album. I think they've done some since then, but I haven't got them. This one was 1997, so pretty cool. Right, we go on to Hendrix. Don't really need to say much about Hendrix. Legendary guitarist, probably one of the most pioneering guitarists ever. Just some great tracks. This is Are You Experienced, the first album that he did. Yeah, just legendary stuff. It was 1967, I think, was originally released. But this has got all the classic stuff on it. This is the sort of the vinyl version. It didn't have a lot of the singles like Hey Joe, Purple Haze, Wind Cries Mary. This one has got all of those on there as well, so that's pretty cool. The title track, Are You Experienced, is amazing. Foxy Lady, obviously, Manic Depression, Level Confusion, Fire. Just all sorts of really cool tracks on here. Highway Child as well is included on this one. But yeah, first album, can't knock it. Really superb album from Hendrix and The Experience. Second album, Axis Bold as Love, probably my favourite, not sure. I mean, it kind of varies depending on what sort of mood I'm in. This one's obviously got the whole, you know, Hindu vibe going on as well. Spanish Castle Magic's on this one, which is probably my, yeah, one of my favourite tracks of his. This has got Little Wing on it as well, which is a super famous track. Castles Made of Sand, the title track Bold as Love. Yeah, You Got Me Floating. This has got 6 Was 9, that's a really cool one as well. Love this album, really superb album. Originally 67 as well. And then I've got Electric Ladyland, which was the double album, not the original cover with the ladies on it, which apparently Hendrix didn't want anyway. But yeah, another super cool album. This has obviously got Voodoo Child and Voodoo Child Slight Return. The original Voodoo Child, like, is just a lengthy blues jam, which is really cool. Crosstown Traffic's on this one. Gypsy Eyes, All Along the Watchtower. Just so much cool stuff. Really good album to listen to all the way through. Do love Hendrix, just love the vibe, you know. It's just a really nice, easy listen, just sounds superb. His guitar works incredible. So that's Electric Ladyland. And also picked this one up as well, from a charity shop, I believe. This one's just called Voodoo Child, the Jimi Hendrix Collection. It's basically 2 discs. One's like sort of a greatest hits kind of thing, and disc 2 is like live stuff, so loads of really cool like live stuff, things like Red House, and like does Wild Thing as well, Machine Gun, from his like Band of Gypsies album, which I don't have, but so yeah, quite nice to pick up. It's got like a nice little booklet in it as well. You know, you see that in a charity shop for like £1 or whatever, you know, kind of, you have to pick it up really. But yeah, really cool. Nice collection there. Right, I've got a few from the band The Haunted. I've not really heard them that much. I say these were inherited, like my brother gave these to me when he was getting rid of a load of his CDs, which I gratefully received. This one's The Dead Eye. This one says it's a limited edition. Comes with a slipcase. So yeah, I need to give that a listen at some point. There's a lot of stuff that I need to give a listen at some point. And so he's got a few haunted ones. There's that one. Revolver as well. That's that one. I think they're kind of a thrashy, slayery kind of band as far as I'm aware, but so I do need to give them a proper listen. And I've got this one, The Haunted Verses, which comes in a box, which I'm always a fan of a box. And it just comes with a jewel case. Looks like it's got a bonus disc as well, and a booklet, which is nice. So yeah, that's Verses in a boîte. A couple from Hatebreed as well, which she gave me, which I'm not overly familiar with their stuff either. This one's Perseverance. And also this one here, Supremacy, this one is called. So once again, need to give those a proper listen, check them out, see what that's all about. I've got the Heaven and Hell album, Devil You Know. This was the last album Ronnie James Dio did, obviously with the Mob Rules lineup of Sabbath, basically Geezer Butler, Tiny Iommi and Vinny Appice. Great album, really heavy. Yeah, probably, you know, yeah, it's one of his better latter year albums, Dio, for sure. Things like Atom and Evil, super heavy. Bible Black's a, you know, just a classic with track. Double the Pain, sorry. Turn of the Screw, things like Eating the Cannibal is really heavy, like really good. Dio sings like really well on it. A Suitable Epitaph for Dio, like really good album. Devil You Know, well worth checking out, really cool cover as well, do enjoy that. So superb album. Glenn Hughes, Soul Mover, Obviously he's done a lot of different stuff. This one was another charity shop find. I'd never heard it, but yeah, pretty cool. Quite hard to get hold of, this one as well, so seeing that for a very cheap price was very nice. House of Pain, classic old school, well, not super old school, but kind of old school hip hop. Fine Malt Lyrics, got this back in the day, was kind of popular then. Obviously Jump Around's the song that everyone knows. It's an alright album, to be honest with you. It's okay, did listen to it quite a lot when I was younger, yeah, it's alright. Everlast, obviously, he's gone on to do other stuff as well. But yeah, Jump Around's pretty much their most famous track, and yeah, it's an okay album, it's not too bad of its time. Hurt Locker, I've got Fear in a Handful of Dust. Not heard that one either. Yeah, that one's coming apart too. Good old jewel cases. That's why I prefer a digipack, you see, a bit more robust. And then the last one of my H's is my Happy Mondays. If you remember Happy Mondays, not obviously metal, but early 90s kind of indie style factory records. This one came out in 1987. Squirrel and G-Man, 24-Hour Party People, Plastic Face Can't Smile, White Out, probably one of the longest album titles ever. So yeah, that's their first album, and yeah, it's decent enough. It's very basic. Yeah, it's got a few 24-Hour Party People's the sort of probably the best track on there, to be honest with you. But fairly decent album, that one. Then they did Bummed. Bummed I kind of like. It's got some good tracks on it. The production is absolutely shocking, to the point where it just sounds awful. This one came out in 1988. But yeah, it's got Rope for Luck on it, but there's better versions of Rope for Luck. Lazyitis, things like that. Fat Lady Wrestlers is a pretty cool track. But yeah, the production is absolutely fucking awful, man. It just sounds, yeah, lo-fi as anything, really messy. And for me, that sort of ruins it a bit, especially when you compare it to Pills, Thrills and Bellyaches, which was their next album. Probably the most popular album, and it's got things like Step On it, Loose Fit, Kinky Afro, God's Cop I really love as well, Grandbag's Funeral's really cool. This album I've listened to a lot. This is the original cover, because it's got all the branding of the Sweets on there as well, which they had to take off for later versions because of the, you know, the advertising and what have you. I don't even know. But yeah, super cool album, really cool production on this one, and yeah, it just sounds really, really good. Yeah, this one's produced and mixed by sort of Paul Oakenfold, so yeah, that's why it sounds so good. Just a really nice, clean production. You can hear everything that's going on, and yeah, just a really cool, chilled out, you know, danceable but still cool album. Really enjoyed that. And then their final album they did, Yes Please. Pretty much went to Jamaica, took loads of crack, recorded this album. And it's still, I think it's quite a good album. It kind of got slated at the time, but I think it sounds pretty cool. There's some good tracks on it, but you can tell they're pretty out of it. This one's produced by Chris France and Tina Weymouth. I think they were from the Talking Heads, so correct me if I'm wrong. They're not a band that I particularly listen to, but yeah, this one's 1992. This one came out. And yeah, I didn't mind that at all. I thought it was alright. Not as good as Pills and Thrills, but still a pretty decent album. So yeah, still quite enjoyable. But yeah, it did get slated quite harshly. So that's it for H. That's my entire H discography. I've got I to do next, which is mainly Iron Maiden. I've done an Iron Maiden ranking video previously. But I'll show the CDs again. I've got a bunch of their live albums as well, which obviously I didn't show last time around. So I'll go through them and some singles as well. So I is going to be largely just Iron Maiden and Incubus maybe, and a couple of other bits. I don't know, not too much there for I, but mainly Maiden. Then J, not loads for J either. I've done Judas Priest ranking as well. Bit of Jane's Addiction, which are a superb band. I might do a bit of a retrospective on them. And then we're on to K, which is a mega Kiss ranking, which will be my next mega ranking basically. So yeah, massive fan of Kiss, so make sure you subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss out on that one, if you're a fan of Kiss, or even if you're not a fan of Kiss, or you think you might be a fan of Kiss but you're not too sure. Give that a go, because that'll be pretty mega. So I'm a massive Kiss fan, have been since I was a early teenager, so I do know my Kiss, and it will be an interesting ranking. I'm not even too sure how that one's going to work out, to be honest with you, but we shall see. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate you checking my channel out. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. I'll catch you all next time. Take it steady. Cheers.